Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're strapping in for what really feels like a masterclass in, well, morning optimization.
Yeah, exactly.
We've all been there, right? The alarm goes off, it's still dark, and your brain just screams, survive! You hit snooze, maybe rush around, and then you spend the first, 3 hours of your workday feeling like you're mentally catching up, always behind.
That feeling of being perpetually behind the eight ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what the ideas we're digging into today aim to fix.
Okay.
We got some really compelling stuff here. It blends neurochemistry, metabolic science, and, behavioral psychology.
Right. And the core idea is this. Moving early isn't just exercise. It's like flipping a deliberate power switch for your entire system, your mind, your metabolism, everything. A power switch. I like that. So the stuff we're looking at, let's call it the morning power switch idea set. It really lays out a clear case, doesn't it?
It does. It argues that the difference between just, dragging yourself through the morning and actually enjoying it, owning it, even comes down to just a short burst of activity.
And it mixes the hard science, like what happens in your brain.
Yeah, the chemical.
With really practical advice, how to stop dreading the alarm and actually, look forward to starting the day.
Exactly. And our mission here is pretty straightforward. We need to unpack how it works. How does early movement act as this shortcut?
Right. Beyond just exercise is good for you.
Precisely.
Yeah.
We want to get into the specifics. How can just a few minutes really boost mental clarity, physical function, and that crucial emotional resilience, setting the stage for the whole day ahead?
Okay, so looking at the actual molecules, the metabolism.
Yeah, the molecules that matter and the metabolic engine you can essentially ignite first thing.
So we're exploring this whole concept, morning movement, not just as a chore, but as a deliberate mental start button for your whole system.
That's the frame.
And I guess to really get into this, we need to start with why that quiet time, before the world wakes up. Why that's so uniquely valuable.
Yeah, let's dive into that. Well, the material we reviewed paints this really evocative picture, almost poetic, of the early morning. It calls it special.
Special, okay.
Yeah, emphasizing that deep peace and quiet, the empty streets, the silence before the commuters start, and just watching the sky get light, that feeling of a completely fresh start before all the noise rushes in.
This is a unique stillness then, isn't there? You just don't get that later once the notifications start pinging and the traffic's going.
Right, everyone wants something.
Yeah, exactly. And that quiet time, it feels like this precious window, but like you said, it often just gets traded for 5 more minutes of, honestly, pretty lousy sleep.
And that leads us right into the problem state, the one that's so common.
Yeah.
Waking up tired, maybe already stressed, and your mind immediately jumps to the day's tasks. The meetings, the deadlines, just the sheer volume of stuff. For you, the listener, always trying to learn, to get ahead, the morning often feels like the first big hurdle to just get over.
Yeah, it's like the day kicks off with a deficit already. You're thinking about the stress of the next 10 hours before you've even really processed that you're awake.
Right, the body's sort of awake, but the brain's playing catch-up, probably flooded with cortisol.
Ah, cortisol, yeah.
Which, naturally peaks in the morning to get us going, but worry just cranks it up even higher.
So the key shift here, the really critical idea, is moving from seeing the morning as something to survive
to something to enjoy. Or even leverage.
Enjoy or leverage, okay.
That pivot from survival to enjoyment, that's the core psychological trick, really. The very first thing you do is something positive, something proactive for yourself.
Something affirming.
Yeah, affirming your own well-being. It changes the whole direction of your mood, your expectations for the day. You're basically telling yourself, hey, I'm in charge here.
And that brings us back to this start button idea. That analogy seems really central, framing movement as pressing a literal start button. It wakes up the muscles, the heart, and importantly, the mind. But hang on. If I wake up, my heart's already beating, my muscles sort of work. What's the real difference between just waking up normally and hitting this deliberate start button with movement?
That's a great question. The difference is the quality and speed of activation. When you just wake up, your system shifts pretty slowly from rest, that's the parasympathetic state, towards readiness, the sympathetic state.
Okay, so it's a gradual ramp up.
Right, and that ramp up can be sluggish. That's where brain fog and that feeling of inertia come from. But when you deliberately hit the start button with movement, you're injecting immediate directed energy.
So it's not just powering up, it's like bypassing the slow idle state and jumping straight to the higher function.
Precisely. We talk about waking up muscles and heart. Yeah, that's increased oxygen circulation, sure, but the real magic happens in the mind. The start button for the mind is that rapid shift in neurotransmitters.
The chemicals.
Yeah.
You're signaling to your brain, okay, immediate complex activity needed now. This preemptive strike gets your cognitive gears turning, planning, decision-making centers before you even glance at your inbox. Whereas if your first move is just sort of leerily reaching for your phone,
You're setting a tone of reaction, passivity. But if your first action is intentional movement, you set a tone of intention, of power.
It's the difference between slowly dragging the car out of the garage versus hitting the gas and shifting straight into drive.
It's a good way to put it.
And the suggestion is that the energy and focus you get from this are different. Better, maybe, than just grabbing coffee. It's like you're generating your own resourcefulness internally.
Exactly. Instead of relying on an external crutch. And that's a powerful claim we need to dig into, chemically. Okay, let's get into the engine room then. The chemistry. What actually makes this early movement so powerful? This is where the material gets really detailed about specific chemicals. Dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, the happiness hormones.
Right, the happiness hormones. It's a catchy name, but let's go deeper. What are they actually doing distinctly when they're released first thing in the morning?
Yeah, that distinction's vital because each one tackles a different kind of morning challenge. It's not just a vague, good feeling, it's targeted modulation. Let's start with dopamine.
Okay, dopamine, motivation, right.
Motivation, drive, reward.
Yeah.
Exactly. When you exercise, even lightly, you get an immediate dopamine spike.
And how does that help specifically with, say, morning productivity?
Well, think about needing to plan your day, maybe tackle complex tasks. That dopamine hit is critical. It activates the prefrontal cortex, your brain's CEO, basically.
Executive function, planning.
All of that. So by moving, you're essentially giving your brain this motivational shot that makes looking at that big to-do list feel less daunting. Helps you organize, prioritize, and actually feel driven to start, not overwhelmed. It turns intention into action.
So moving early isn't just waking up the body, it's waking up my inner planner and getting a little biochemical reward just for getting started.
You got it. Then there's serotonin. Dopamine is drive. Serotonin is more about stability.
Stability, how so?
It regulates mood, appetite, sleep cycles. Think of it like a buffer. Steady, healthy serotonin levels buffer you against stress and anxiety. Morning movement boosts serotonin synthesis and release,
Okay.
which helps stabilize your mood and improves your ability to sort of regulate your emotions throughout the day.
So if I tend to get easily rattled by, I don't know, morning traffic or a tricky email first thing, the serotonin acts like a cushion, makes me less reactive.
Precisely. It dials down those impulsive emotional reactions that can just completely derail your focus. And finally, endorphins.
The runner's high ones.
Yeah, the body's natural painkillers, basically. Opioid peptides. They give you that more immediate feeling of, well, euphoria or just well-being. In the morning, they're fantastic for just reducing that immediate sense of discomfort, physical or mental. Your quick, natural stress relief. So it's like a double benefit. You're physically working off the jitters while chemically generating focus and calm.
Exactly. And the materials we looked at quickly connect this mood boost to actual performance, citing findings that people who exercise early just do better at work or school.
Yeah, and this loops right back to cognitive function. They list specific metrics. Faster decisions, easier memory recall, better concentration. Why, though? Why does moving help me remember things better or concentrate more?
Well, you've primed the pump, essentially. Increased blood flow means more oxygen to the brain, better energy transfer, that's basic. But crucially, the sources emphasize that this hormone cocktail also increases BDNF.
BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Sounds complicated.
It does, but think of it like fertilizer for your brain cells.
Okay, fertilizer, I can picture that.
It helps grow new neurons and strengthens the connections between the ones you already have. By boosting BDNF first thing, you're literally optimizing the machinery for learning and memory.
So if you've got a day packed with learning new stuff or making big decisions,
morning movement is almost like a cognitive tune-up beforehand. It's not a time drain, it's an investment that pays off right away in mental horsepower. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, wait. The material claims this is superior to coffee.
The caffeine comparison, yes.
I mean, realistically, if I only have 10 minutes, isn't grabbing a quick coffee faster and easier for that boost? Why is this movement-induced energy supposedly better?
That's a really important point of friction they explore. The argument for it being superior is about sustainability and overall system health. They frame it as giving your brain a cup of energy, but without the caffeine crash later.
Right, the crash. We all know that one.
Caffeine gives you that sharp external spike. It works by blocking adenosine receptors, basically tricking your brain into not feeling tired.
It doesn't give energy, it just masks fatigue.
Exactly. And when it wears off, boom, all that backed up adenosine hits you, leading to the crash, the jitters, needing another cup.
Yeah. But the energy from morning exercise is sustained and, they argue, chemically superior because it's endogenous. It comes from within. The dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, they're naturally regulating your baseline mood and focus. Plus, you're improving cell connectivity, boosting internal energy production through metabolism.
So instead of just blocking the tired signals, you're actively generating the energy and focus signals.
Precisely. You sidestep the dependency, you avoid the inevitable dip, you get a much more stable, productive, focused day because you've tuned the system internally. It's like built-in, slow-release energy, not a quick external jolt. Okay, so moving from the brain chemistry to the actual physical body, one really encouraging message that came through loud and clear was, you don't need to run a marathon here. Absolutely. The barrier to entry, the effective dose, is surprisingly low.
Yeah, emphasizing that even just 10 or 15 minutes can have huge effects. That immediately makes it feel more doable.
I mean, it lowers the barrier significantly. The goal isn't, peak athletic performance. It's optimal function and getting your metabolism going.
So what are those core physical benefits listed? Increased blood flow, that seems fundamental.
Crucial for oxygen delivery everywhere, yeah.
Improved digestion, like signaling the gut that the day started.
And strengthening the immune system.
Okay, let's unpack those a bit. The blood flow, is it just about oxygen?
Oxygen and nutrients in, yes, but also waste products out. Movement helps flush out the metabolic junk that accumulates overnight, clears the decks at a cellular level.
And the immune system, how does a quick walk boost that?
Well, movement literally mobilizes key immune cells, like natural killer cells, T cells. It gets them circulating more effectively, patrolling for pathogens. If you stay sedentary, that system is more sluggish.
Got it. But the really interesting bit, especially for listeners focused on efficiency, was the metabolism detail, that your metabolism gets this natural, immediate boost from morning movement.
Ah, yes, the burning effect. This is a big one and worth digging into. When you move early, you shift your body out of that low-energy, sleeping metabolic state much faster.
And the claim is the body keeps burning more calories all day long, even when you're just sitting at your desk later. How does that work?
The mechanism is called EPO, excess post-exercise oxygen consumption.
EPO. Okay, break that down.
Think of it as the afterburn. When you stop exercising, your body doesn't just instantly go back to its resting state. It needs extra oxygen and therefore burns extra calories to recover.
Recover from what? Even a light walk?
Yeah, even light activity requires recovery. It needs to cool down, get the heart rate back to normal, replenish energy stores in the muscles, maybe repair tiny micro tears. All that takes energy.
Huh. So even a brisk 10-minute walk requires enough effort that your body has to keep the metabolic furnace slightly higher for hours afterwards, just to sort of clean up and reset.
Precisely. By doing that activity in the morning, you initiate that EPOC response early. So during the hours you normally have a lower burn rate, like sitting and working, your baseline is actually elevated. You turn up the thermostat for the next, say, 8 to 12 hours.
So you're passively burning more calories all day just because you moved for 10, 15 minutes in the morning.
That's the idea. It's leveraging that time effectively. You make your work or study time more metabolically active without doing anything extra during those hours.
That really does sound like an efficiency hack. Put in 15 minutes at 7 a.m., and your body's better at handling energy from lunch at 1 p.m. And crucially, you're saying intense effort isn't needed to kickstart this EPOC.
Correct. That reinforces the whole accessibility idea. Minimum viable movement. If the thought of a punishing workout makes you want to hide,
Yeah.
the good news is that simple options work. Stretching, walking, some light yoga.
Yeah.
You're aiming for physiological activation, not exhaustion. Consistency beats intensity here for keeping that metabolic boost going day after day.
All right, so beyond the physical and the immediate cognitive speed, there are these bigger, more strategic benefits discussed, like achieving a clear, calm focus, that state where your body's awake but your mind is peaceful. Yeah, that synergy. Alert but not frantic. It's about waking up on purpose, not just by accident when the alarm goes off. And there's a specific term used for what this movement helps eliminate. Mental noise. Mental noise. Okay, what is that exactly?
It's described as all those random, often negative thoughts, the leftover stress, the worries about the day ahead that just start swirling the moment you wake up. Morning exercise acts like a filter for that.
But how? How does a 10-minute walk actually silence the internal chatter about deadlines or bills? Isn't it just swapping one mental activity for another?
It works on a few levels. Chemically, as we said, the serotonin and endorphins help stabilize things, making worries feel less urgent. Behaviorally, when you focus on your breath or the feeling of your feet hitting the ground or just the stretch.
You're being present.
Exactly. It's mindfulness through movement. You give your brain something concrete and present to focus on, which interrupts that negative loop of what ifs and oh no's that an idle mind loves to run. You're forcing the thinking part of your brain to engage with now, not some hypothetical future stress.
Okay, so by getting that clarity, you start setting the tone for the day, establishing control. The material equates moving early with basically saying to yourself, okay, I've already done something good for me, I'm in charge.
And that feeling of control, that's foundational for building self-efficacy. When you win that first little battle of the day, the one against inertia, against the warm bed, you carry that momentum forward.
You've acted intentionally, not just reacted to the alarm.
Right. And that confidence, that sense of accomplishment, however small, carries through into meetings, into challenging tasks. You approach things proactively, not defensively. Okay, and this leads to what might be the most powerful benefit mentioned, especially for someone focused on learning and growth. The discipline multiplier. Ah, yes. The idea that getting up early isn't just about the workout itself, it's about building mental strength.
Now, I can hear some listeners thinking discipline multiplier sounds a bit like self-help jargon. Is this just about feeling motivated, or is there a real hard strategic benefit here? How does choosing to stretch translate to, say, better project management later?
That's fair skepticism. The strategic link is made through the concept of decision fatigue.
Okay, decision fatigue. Running out of willpower.
Exactly. Willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired. Every choice you make, what to wear, what to eat for breakfast, whether to hit snooze again, uses up a little bit of your capacity for making good choices later on, especially the important ones.
Right.
Choosing to move, even when you don't feel like it, is a conscious act of delayed gratification. You're training your brain, repeatedly, to choose what's beneficial in the long run, not just what feels easy right now.
So by making that hard, correct choice early, the choice to move, you're actually conserving your willpower. You front-load the difficult decision, leaving more mental energy for the bigger, tougher choices later in the day.
That's a core idea. You minimize decision fatigue around starting other important tasks because you've already overcome the initial inertia. This daily act of self-control reinforces your ability to prioritize. That's the multiplier effect.
And the impact grows because of this contagion effect they talk about. The discipline apparently spreads. It doesn't just stay with the morning routine.
That's the claim. Structure breeds structure.
Okay, be specific. How does a 10-minute walk make me, say, manage my time better or stick to a budget later? That feels like a leap.
Well, the connection is made through mindset and habit loops. If you start the day by successfully sticking to a small structure, your morning routine, you're psychologically primed to respect other structures you set for yourself.
Like a schedule or a meal plan.
Exactly. It might lead to eating better. I just invested in my body. Why sabotage it now? Planning better because you're in that clear, focused state. But even deeper, that disciplined mindset can carry over into things like setting boundaries.
Okay. So if I manage to say no to the snooze button, maybe I'm slightly more able to say no to an unreasonable request later. It's a carryover of assertive, disciplined behavior.
It's like a domino effect of internal accountability. Win the small battle, you're better equipped for the bigger ones. And they explicitly link this to habits of successful people, athletes, leaders who rely on this morning structure. Because structure ultimately leads to progress. It makes things predictable, manageable.
We've hit the physical, the cognitive, the strategic. But there's also a strong emotional piece here too, isn't there? This idea of an emotional reset happening during that quiet morning movement.
Yeah, it's framed as a deeply emotional act. Taking that quiet walk at sunrise, stretching where the world's still asleep. It's about deliberately carving out a moment of peace before the day starts making demands on you.
Like building a little buffer zone.
Exactly. A period of internal stability that kind of shields you, prepares you for the inevitable chaos.
And that moment sets the emotional tone. The feelings listed are calmer, more grounded, even more grateful. It really does sound like hitting a mental reset button.
It ensures you step into the day feeling internally secure, rather than immediately panicked or rushed. You're filling your own emotional tank first.
Plus, just achieving that small goal, the movement itself must give a little self-esteem boost, right? A small win before breakfast.
Absolutely. That feeling of competence is a powerful antidote to morning anxiety. Now, there's also this fascinating behavioral idea I mentioned, the craving loop. The claim is if you're consistent, your body actually starts to want the morning movement. It starts craving that feeling of freshness and energy.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? It is. How long does that typically take for the brain to go from, ugh, gotta do this, to actually, hey, I want this?
The time frame varies, obviously, person to person. But the mechanism is about biological preference, eventually overriding sheer willpower. When your brain consistently gets that powerful positive reward, the dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, plus the feeling of accomplishment,
It learns.
it adapts. It starts to recognize the movement not as a punishment, but as a necessary positive input. The effort needed to just get out of bed genuinely decreases once the brain links the action to the reward reliably. It shifts from being a chore to almost a comfort. Which brings us to a really crucial point: perfection versus consistency. The materials are refreshingly realistic here. They acknowledge, look, not every morning's going to be perfect. You'll be tired some days or super busy. That's okay. And that nuance is so important, because if you aim for perfection, like I must do a 45-minute workout every single day, one missed day can totally derail you. Guilt kicks in, you feel like a failure.
Yeah, the all or nothing crap.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the key takeaway is crystal clear. Consistency matters far more than intensity.
Okay, so on those days when motivation is just zero, how do you maintain consistency without it feeling like this huge, draining battle of wills?
This is where the power of minimal commitment comes in. Techniques like habit stacking are suggested.
Habit stacking.
Yeah, linking the new habit movement to something you already do automatically, like right after you turn off your alarm or while the kettle boils, you do one specific stretch.
Piggybacking it onto an existing routine.
Exactly. And the other big one is the 2-minute rule.
The 2-minute rule. Right.
The idea is when starting out or on a low energy day, just commit to doing the first 2 minutes of the activity. Put on your running shoes, do 5 push-ups, roll out the yoga mat.
Just start.
Just start. Because usually once you've broken the inertia, once you're actually moving, you find the energy to keep going for a bit longer. But even if you only do the 2 minutes...
You haven't broken the chain. Exactly.
Yeah.
You've maintained the habit. You've reinforced the pattern. The minimum entry point is key. Even 5 minutes of gentle movement counts.
And the purpose of that tiny bit of movement is just the mental reminder, telling your body and brain, okay, we're awake, we're alive, we're ready.
It's an affirmation through action. It keeps the habit alive, even if the physical payoff that specific day is tiny.
And the ultimate goal then is automation. Over time, it stops feeling like a decision you have to make every morning.
Right. It just becomes part of your routine, like brushing your teeth. It doesn't drain your willpower anymore because it's just what you do. That's when the discipline multiplier really gets locked in. Okay, so to make all this super practical, the materials laid out a simple routine. A 15-minute slow designed to hit all these points: clarity, metabolism, emotional balance. Yeah, a concrete blueprint.
Which is great for anyone listening who wants to, actually try this tomorrow. And a key selling point was no equipment needed, right? Makes it totally accessible.
Absolutely. Low friction is key to starting.
So let's walk through this sequence step by step and maybe unpack the why behind each bit, linking it back to the chemistry and strategy.
Sounds good. Let's deconstruct it.
Yep.
Okay, step 1. Drink water. Simple enough. 1 glass right after waking up. Why is this the mandatory first step before any movement? It's twofold. First, immediate hydration. After hours of sleep, you're dehydrated, which slows everything down at a cellular level. Water kickstarts basic functions.
Right, rehydrate.
But second, and maybe more subtly, drinking water first thing might help gently modulate that morning cortisol spike we talked about. It kind of calms the system slightly, creating a better internal environment for the movement to come. It's the physical prep work.
Okay, water first. Got it. Step 2. Stretch, just 2-3 minutes. Arms, legs, neck, back. Is this just about not pulling a muscle, or is there something more? It's mainly about signaling. Stretching engages proprioception, your body's sense of where it is in space. Okay. Body awareness, yeah. By gently moving your limbs, extending, rotating, you're sending immediate feedback to your brain. Hey, we're not lying down anymore, we're active. You're essentially waking up the body's sensory map. Plus, it boosts circulation to the big muscle groups, prepping them gently. It's the ramp-up phase. Okay, gentle wake-up call for the body. Then step 3, light movement. This is the main part, the engine starter. 10 minutes, walking, jogging in place, maybe some simple yoga flows. Why 10 minutes specifically?
10 minutes seems to be that functional sweet spot. It's long enough to reliably trigger those key chemical releases, dopamine, serotonin spike.
The happiness hormones.
Yeah. And crucially, it's enough to initiate that EP afterburn effect we discussed. You get your heart rate up into a light cardio zone, maximizing blood flow to the brain, but without causing so much fatigue that you actually undermine your energy, your discipline for the rest of the day. This is the bit that really resets your energy thermostat. All right, 10 minutes of moving. Then, step 4, deep breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale slowly through the mouth. This is linked to reducing that mental noise. Can you give us a concrete technique maybe and explain exactly how breathing calms the mind?
Sure. This step leverages the power of controlled breathing. Techniques like box breathing, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, or the 4-7-8 breath are relevant here. The key is the slow, deliberate exhale.
Okay.
This intentionally stimulates the vagus nerve. That's the main nerve of your parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system.
So the movement fired up the fight or flight for energy.
Right, the sympathetic system. And now the breathing deliberately hits the brakes, activating the rest and digest for calm focus. You got it perfectly. By slowing your breath, especially the exhale, you send a powerful signal to your brain. You are safe, relax. It directly counteracts lingering stress hormones like cortisol and promotes immediate mental clarity. It's the final filter for that mental noise, ensuring you achieve that alert yet peaceful state. Okay, breathing for calm. Makes sense. Finally, step 5, gratitude moment. Just thinking of one thing you're thankful for. This feels different. It's not physical. Why is this cognitive step seen as just as essential as the movement or breathing?
This is the final emotional anchor. It speaks directly to setting that positive tone and reinforcing the discipline. Gratitude actively forces your brain into a positive pattern.
How so?
It shifts your focus from lack or obligation, all the things I have to do today, to abundance and appreciation, things I get to experience or things I already have. Even just identifying one small thing. This simple mental act locks in the emotional benefits of the whole routine. It grounds you in positivity, boosting resilience before the day's stressors hit.
So when you look at the whole 15-minute sequence, water, stretch, move, breathe, gratitude, it really covers all the bases, doesn't it?
It does.
It shifts you from that groggy stress reaction to a proactive, strong start. A small time investment for potentially huge returns throughout the entire day.
That's the promise. A concise, powerful package. Hashtag tag outro. So if we pull it all together, the core gifts from this morning power switch idea are pretty clear, aren't they? You get focus from that chemical reset in the brain.
Yeah, the dopamine, serotonin.
Sustained energy from that metabolic boost, the EPOC effect.
Afterburn.
And that deeper emotional balance that comes from taking that quiet, disciplined time for yourself first.
It really is more than just, burning a few calories or ticking the exercise box. It feels like it's about deliberately front-loading your day with a win, with confidence, with internal resources.
It's a difference maybe between feeling like you're constantly reacting to the day's demands versus proactively setting your own course.
Paddling out to choose your own wave instead of just getting tossed around.
That's a nice way to put it. And it's crucial to connect this back to you, the listener. The fundamental idea here is strategically giving yourself time before the world starts pulling at you.
Claiming that first slice of the day.
Exactly. Dedicating even just that 15-minute window is an act of setting boundaries, prioritizing your own well-being. The material calls it one of the best gifts you can give yourself because it protects your mental energy for what matters most.
So maybe tomorrow morning when that alarm goes off, the challenge is just to try it. Don't hit snooze. Take that deep breath, get up, and just move, even a little. Remember that simple 5-step flow?
Yeah. And the final thought to really chew on is the incredible compound power of consistency. It's not about one heroic workout. It's about those small actions, the glass of water, the 5 minutes of stretching repeated daily.
That's what unlocks the big changes over time.
That's what builds the discipline multiplier. It's the relentless commitment to that minimum effective dose.
That integration of mind, body, and emotion all in one short, structured routine, that really is the power switch, isn't it? Activating your whole system for a day that feels more controlled, less chaotic.
Well said.
All right, until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and maybe keep moving, especially in the morning.